Hey guys, today I'm here with Richard Taubinger. Richard runs a six-figure business in niches ranging from martial arts, meditation, and some other stuff as well. And we met here in the Durango. We're in a bar. By the way, you're probably gonna hear some noises and people are walking around, but that's fine. Richard generously, gave us some minutes to share what worked on his business, what didn't work. Hi, Richard. How are you doing, sir?
Hi, Enrico. I'm doing great. Thanks for inviting me. It's awesome.
Thank you very much as well. And why don't you start telling a little bit? How did you start up in this information marketing, information product business?
Sure. Well, my background is actually in financial trading. When I graduated, I worked on the floor of the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, and that's where they trade stock futures and derivatives and stuff. And now those floors don't exist anymore. Actually, everything's online.
Yes.
And one of my first jobs was actually to do online trading off the floor.
Where was it?
That was in Chicago, and then I did it in London, and then I spent 10 years in Asia, in Hong Kong, Singapore, and Tokyo.
Yeah. Not bad, right? How old were you?
That was in my 20s, so I'm about 40 right now.
Okay.
And I think like a lot of people that go into the corporate world, they go in and they're excited about it, and then at some point they realize that maybe it's not quite their path, or maybe there's something more that has more heart.
Yes.
And for me, I had to kind of burn out in a couple of jobs. I burnt out of the trading, and then I burnt out of the venture capital, and then I burnt out of import-export. And at the end, I was just looking for something that I could do that was more aligned with my interests, which were more martial arts, meditation, health, basically things that help people and are more heart-based. So that third time I burnt out, I came back to the States and took a job at Stanford. And I was doing job placement, so placing interns in one of the best business schools in the world. And I was seeing thousands of jobs, when I was there, and very few jobs really resonated with me. And what I found was that the jobs that did resonate with me were less about like selling some kind of product or about consuming more stuff. It was more about helping people go inward to figure out who they were, kind of the spiritual search or the master game. And sometimes that was attached to religion, but often it was more about yoga or shamanism or martial arts like capoeira or aikido or things that they have a deeper richness to them. And I just started helping some clients on the side with their businesses using the skills that I learned in the corporate world. And I quickly realized that the best game to play in town was the internet game, that it provided the biggest opportunities.
Why is that?
Well, in the past, if you launched a book, you had to have a major publisher.
Yeah.
You had to have distribution channels, or you had to be lucky and get on like Oprah. And it was a limited few that could really have a massive reach. And now, if you understand how the internet works, and most people don't, you can take your product, your service, your ideas, you can put them online, and you can have massive reach.
Yes.
So I started to do that with a lot of the people that I worked with in fields like meditation and martial arts. And
how did you start it? So I get that you were there and you had this passion, fair enough, and you wanted to break from this probably, I would say, stressful job or different job, didn't resonate with you. But how did you actually come from having a passion for, say, martial arts and to actually making money on the internet with martial arts?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, I think one of the things I would say is I think a lot of people, when they make a transition, sometimes it's like shifting from first to fifth gear, and that doesn't work very well. So I think the best way to do it is to test the waters. And so if you're working for somebody, you can be doing something at night or on the weekend, and you can be building your offline or your online business while you're still in the corporate world and you're making that transition.
But how did you do it?
Well, what I did was I was doing some consulting on the side.
How did you learn how to do this?
Well,
because you were like an employee, like in Stanford. You probably haven't learned that in the internet. in Stanford, right?
Yeah, well,
maybe you did.
No, I didn't. And I have a degree from University of Chicago, which is ranked number 1 by Business Week, even over Stanford and Harvard. But I would trade that $100,000 degree that I had from that leading school for, say, Jeff Walker or
Jeff Walker, yeah.
Can I say that? Yeah.
No, of course, please do.
Okay.
Here we are about all sharing what makes results, right?
Well, I would trade that for a lot of the internet programs that I bought, one of which was Product Launch Formula.
Yes.
So
you went there and bought Product Launch Formula and off you went. What did you do? You start launching your own products, or you launching products for someone else?
Yeah, when I started, I didn't have my own products, so I looked around at the people I was doing business with.
Yes.
And the first product I launched was a martial art product around a martial art called Bagua. And
what is that?
Bagua, it's a Chinese martial art, and it's a kind of a brother to Tai Chi, which most people know. And Bagua means Ba in Chinese means 8,
yes.
and Gua means trigram. So it's linked to the I Ching, and it's about how to defend against 8 opponents simultaneously. And it's considered a very high martial art in China. And you would think for a martial art like that there wouldn't be much of a market. But a lot of markets, there's very passionate people about anything. So I live in Hawaii now.
You live in Hawaii?
And I choose to live there because I can live anywhere.
Yes.
Because most of my business is online.
Yes.
And like in Hawaii, as an example, if people are into surfing, if you go into the garage, they'll have like 10, 20 surfboards.
Yes.
Because one's not enough. And
yes.
Things like martial arts, meditation, different things that people are interested in, cooking, I mean anything. If somebody's passionate about something, they want to study with the best, they want to know the best. So with Bagua, we did a launch, and our first launch was multiple 6 figures.
So in your first launch, you managed to get this guy, which was probably a specialist in Bagua.
Right.
And what did you do? Did you film an information product about it? And you launched it, and you did a multiple 6-figure in that launch?
That's a good question. What we did was we did a live event, and then we recorded that. And at the time, that was 2008, we recorded that on tape. So now the same cameras that we spent $3,000 with and had tape and very slow editing computers, you can get the same prosumer camera for under $1,000.
Yes.
So the technology's faster.
Probably this camera is better than that, right?
Oh,
the camera that's filming the...
That camera is much better, actually.
Okay, yeah. With the fuzzy background.
I know. So we took that product and we created a multiple DVD set.
Yes.
And we called it a mastery program. And we launched it. And initially we had printed 100. And about day 3 into the launch, we ran it through a launch formula. So rather than just listing it or sending out a list, we did some promo videos, 3 promo videos.
Pre-launch. Right?
Pre-launch, opened up a cart, so everything that you're teaching your people. And then, it was about the 3rd week that we closed the cart, which is a little bit too long now. But I think we had sold over 350. So that was a pretty big launch back then for us.
A question that I get a lot. So this is a great example of someone that knows, once you know the marketing, it opens up doors, right? Because you can get someone that has the knowledge, promote that, and make a deal.
Right.
And what would be your key tips if you are about key tips for someone to structure a deal that's good? How would you go teaching them the major things about that? Because I know you do a lot of deals. You did a deal with meditation as well.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Also probably a multiple 6-figure as well. Am I correct?
Meditations. Yeah. Most of my launches have been over 6 figures. So
nice.
Meditation, Tai Chi, martial arts, shamanism.
So how do you
Tree
go?
Life. Yeah.
How would you go structuring a deal that works for both of you and the expert? How would you?
Well, what you have to realize is that somebody's an expert in something.
Yeah.
Generally, they don't really want to get into the internet marketing stuff. So they can make a choice. They can either learn it themselves and then go through the process, which some people do and they do it really well. And then there's other people who would rather outsource everything or make a deal with somebody. So for me, the teachers that I was working with, they didn't want to do it themselves. They wanted somebody to come in and give them the expertise. So on the deals that I worked on, you cut a percentage, could be up to 50%, and then you put everything together. Sometimes you can put some money in, sometimes you don't have to, they will fund it.
Yeah.
And basically, I think the main thing is that you're paid on performance.
Okay.
So if you do well, they do well, and it's just a fair deal.
What is it depends on your, every deal is a deal, but what would be something like, is it like 30% is normal to be charging at this sort of market, 30% of sales, or less than that? What would be a typical normal number?
I think it depends. If it's a client that doesn't have a list, then it's going to be harder, and you're going to have to do more to make money. And for the people who are viewing this, building the list size is a really important part of internet marketing business. It's like one of the core pieces.
Yeah.
So if you can find somebody that already has a list of 10,000, 20,000, whatever it is, even 1,000 people on a list,
yeah,
but that list is strong and those people really like that person, it can be really important. So I teach people something I call the digital sweet spot. And can I
please
talk about that?
Yes.
So the
digital sweet spot.
The digital sweet spot is...
I learn on these interviews as much as they do.
I call it the sweet spot because it's the easiest product to produce for the least amount of work, for the highest possible reward in the shortest amount of time.
Wow.
So I think a lot of info marketers get caught in like the $9 ebook or even a $50 product. Or they go the other way and they think, I'm going to film like 10 DVDs, and then they get into video production, which costs more and is much more complicated, requires editing and lighting background. The digital sweet spot is an audio product between 5 and 6 hours, and you charge just under $100. And often people, if it's a teacher they like and something they're really interested in, $100 products, people will just not even blink and they'll buy that.
Yes.
And then for the digital sweet spot, you want to be adding some bonuses, some reports, maybe one video, and then you deliver it all online. So no fulfillment. You might have a cover design, but everything goes online.
Yes.
And here's how you make money, or one of the ways. If you have 1,000 people that are your true fans,
yes,
1,000 people that love you, 1,000 people that see the value in whatever you're offering, and they buy a $100 product, that is $100,000. Now, for most people, 1,000 times 100 is $100,000. For most people, $100,000 is a lot of money.
Yes.
Most meditation teachers, most yoga teachers, most capoeira teachers.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Most cooks, just about anybody. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So the thing is, you have to provide a product that really just rocks the house.
Yes.
That's awesome. But you can see that that's very doable. It's also not, I'm not. I don't have to get on network TV. I don't have to find a way onto Oprah. I don't, for you to make $100,000 in the book publishing industry,
it's hard.
It's very hard. You have to have a bestseller. You have to have connections. You have to be the world's greatest expert.
Interviews on TV.
Yeah, it's a different game. So that's the digital sweet spot. That's what I call it.
Yes. So perfect.
Yeah.
Wow. And that's great. And if you are to give the people watching us now, some people they have already started, some people are starting from scratch right now, and if you were to give one tip for them, what would it be?
Let me give 2 tips.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
So the first one is understand that your email list is your most important asset or your client's most important asset. So you want to become a master at building your own email list, and if you're helping others or working with others, you need to understand how to do that well. So the product launch formula goes a lot into list building.
Yes.
And then the second thing I would say that stops a lot of people, even great teachers, is they don't feel like they're worthy. They don't feel like they have anything to share. They don't feel like their story is unique. And they're maybe comparing themselves to somebody who's like, if I was to teach meditation as an example, I've been meditating for 10 years. I have a lot of experience. But if I said, look, I'm not going to teach meditation until I get to the level that the Dalai Lama's at or the Pope's at or whoever your spiritual leader is, you're never going to teach. So I think a better way to reframe it is I'm going to look at who's below me. So, maybe I do a martial art or some specialty and I have 10 years of experience. Well, 80 to 90% of the people are at a lower level than me. So I'm going to create a product that can teach to all those people below me. And how I'm going to make that product unique is I'm going to tell my own story. I'm going to tell my own story of how I learned it, how I got into it. I'm going to have maybe a unique way I present it. And that's what people want. They want to hear your story. And
your perspective. Right?
Yeah, your perspective, your way of doing it. And don't focus on like the best person in the industry. Focus on all the people that could use your services. And especially if you're local, because, how often does the Dalai Lama visit Brazil or Sao Paulo or whatever city?
Probably not often.
Probably not often. But, in your local community, you can make a real difference. And if you have all this knowledge that's bundled up inside you and you're not sharing it, you're not doing anybody else a service, and quite frankly, you're not doing yourself a service, because you've learned that knowledge. And I think part of the hero's journey, like the Joseph Campbell thing, is after you learn something, you come back and you share it and you give your gift and you're of service. And that's what I feel that information marketing allows people to do, is to raise the consciousness of humanity. And you can look at internet marketing as like, look at those, look at all the things they're doing. But when has there been a time in history where you can learn anything, where you can do anything?
From the best.
Yeah,
right?
You can have access to the best teachers in any industry. And I think a market like Brazil is awesome because, it's internet marketing is just starting to take hold and really becoming something big there. And there's a lot of opportunities to translate products, to create new products, to reach people, to form online communities. I mean, there's just so much you can do on the internet, and that's really exciting.
Nice, Richard. Well,
I know that was a little long, but
I think that was great because like 2 nuggets. Your worth, you can do it, right? And building a list, which is very important. That was one of the biggest. I think the biggest breakthroughs I had when I started. I didn't know I had to build a list, and I didn't know I thought I could do what I do.
Right.
And it's amazing when you actually do that and you.
Well, you're helping the people build lists too. That's part of what you do.
That's right. Yeah.
You get them to understand that in the offline world it's location on the side street, but in the online world, if you have somebody's email address, you can develop a relationship with them. You can enter a conversation rather than just be on a website somewhere. It's a way to be personal with somebody you maybe don't even know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow, Richard, thank you very, very much. It was a pleasure.
Okay.
Bye-bye.